Hello, and welcome to episode 2 of The Peer Perspective, a student-led podcast directed by high school students destigmatizing the mental health challenges that students struggle with in high school. Today, we wanted to discuss a big milestone and a stressful time for high schoolers, SAT season. During this time, students cram and stress over a 3-hour standardized test composed of English and math subjects. The SAT is a big part of the college process and rounding out your full college applications. However, some colleges are test optional since COVID, so it is really up to you if you decide to submit your scores to schools. I'm Sadie, a junior at Madison High School, and a student in the midst of the SAT season. I've been doing preparations for the test since the summer before my junior year, spending hours at the local SAT prep center with 2 different tutors. Every time I take a test, I feel extremely relieved afterwards knowing that a weight is off my back, but knowing that I have to begin preparing to take another test in the coming months adds an amount of stress that can't be alleviated. After receiving my scores from my past SATs, it made me wonder if spending all this time stressing over a test is worth it to get into college. So much time during the weeknights and weekends was spent being ridiculed by tutors over false answers, which was adding to the stress of also balancing school and a social life. In the end, I wish I could have taken just one test and continued to focus on my grades, which would ultimately help me choose a school that truly suited me.
Hi, I'm Amelia, a senior at Madison High School, and I am thankfully done with the SATs. I took the test 3 times and spent countless hours stressing myself out about this one big test and trying my hardest to prepare. Not only is the actual test stressful, but also having to figure out the College Board website. Sometimes, the places that they give the SAT test are really far away from where you live. For my 3rd SAT, I had to drive over an hour to get to the test. One of the good things about the SAT is that you can take the test as many times as you want, and only the scores you choose are reported to colleges. I chose to submit my test scores to most of the colleges I applied for, but I know that a lot of my friends didn't.
I'm Ava, a senior at Madison High School, and have also completed my SAT process. I took the PSAT at school in October. Due to it being a practice test, I wasn't too anxious about my score because it was my first SAT and I hadn't done any studying yet. But I still put my best effort forward and hoped to do well. After seeing my score, I was determined to do better, so I started tutoring once a week. After finishing my tutoring course, I took the SAT 2 more times. They were both at different schools, around 30 to 45 minutes away because all of the schools around me were full. Stepping into an unfamiliar school that I'd never been to before and taking a stressful test was not comfortable for me. I wish I had signed up earlier where the odds to get somewhere more local would have been higher. During these tests, due to my current mental state, my anxiety was at its peak. I struggled to stay put during the test, needing to step out of the room due to panic attacks. This affected my performance greatly, and that I ended up with scores I did not like. Due to these circumstances, I decided not to submit my SAT scores to colleges that I was applying to. I believed that my grades and essay were strong, so entering my average score wasn't necessary. Although some may say that not submitting your score isn't the right decision, I knew it was best for me, and I've seen lots of positive feedback from all of the colleges I've heard back from so far. SAT anxiety is not the only challenging thing about junior year. The increased academic expectations and balancing social life is just a few of the many things that could be affecting a student's mental health. We chose to talk to Sarah Mazak, our high school guidance counselor, about how to deal with these topics. So beginning AP classes can be a challenge for lots of students. So what tools do you recommend to keep balance with harder classes, SAT studying, and a social life?
This is a big question, and it's one I think that comes up a lot, not just from students, but from parents too. We're always looking to see how do we keep our best balance. And when you add things, especially in, sophomore, junior year, like standardized tests, that's when it feels very intense for a lot of our students. Sophomore, junior year tend to be the bigger years for those intense feelings. Part of my conversation always revolves around taking a real good look at what works good for you, not versus what works good for you versus everybody else. I think our students here, we're part of a smaller school, and students can't help but compare their course load with other friends, and so the conversation has to start with: are you taking these classes out of genuine interest and desire, or are you trying to keep up with something? Sometimes a real honest answer is, I'm trying to keep up. I want to get into certain colleges, and I am trying to keep up. And if that is the case, and the student chooses to pursue that harder path, right, of APs and standardized tests. What was the other? There was a third one that you
SAT studying and social life.
Social life, right. Right. And that's like the biggest part of everything. A student has to have, a home where they can go home and feel like they can rest their head at night, and feel like if they are feeling a certain way, they can express that to not just, people at school, but family. So that's a big part of the conversation too. There's no one blanket answer. It is support at home, support at school, working toward classes and a social life that is right for you, trying not to compare to other students. And then there's the regular everyday things of the things that we know work well for humans in general, like taking a walk, meditation, these tools that we all know work. We don't always employ them, but those are parts of the conversation too. What works for you?
Being a junior, I feel like I'm never resting anymore.
Right.
It's a big year.
Yes.
It's very stressful.
Mm-hmm.
So junior year is notoriously the most academically challenging year of high school. Do you agree with this?
Overall, yes. Obviously, that is not the case for every person, but I would say the majority of students do feel that junior year is the most taxing year. Whether that's reality or not in terms of how hard their classes are, it's all the other stuff that comes into play that makes it taxing. Like the big conversations about life after high school, big conversations about standardized tests. So I think whether it's real or perceived, junior year is that year that brings upon the bigger stressors. And these are big decisions that students are making for like the first time in their life. Come junior year, you're starting to make a lot of decisions on your own. And that's a big part of the stressors that come with it too.
So when it comes to like SAT scores, how do you help students and recommend students like separate their test scores from their self-worth?
Believe it or not, that has actually gotten better in recent years than say 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago. Part of that is because standardized tests for many schools now are optional. So students come to know that in their junior year if they don't know that prior, right? So that piece helps a lot of students, knowing that these standardized tests, you don't have to actually take them, nor do you have to send them to thousands of colleges that don't require them. So that helps a good majority of students. It's very hard to detach self-worth from a standardized test. It's hard, and that's okay. Is something that needs to be talked about a lot, because of course it's easy for me to say there is no connection between a person's worth and any number of that comes out on any test anywhere. We know that, but it's hard to convince a student of that, and that's okay.
What are some tools that you recommend students use if they are stressed about SATs or AP classes?
If a student is mildly stressed, I think the tools that we know about typically do well, like taking breaks, talking with friends, being open with parents, being open with any adults at the school that you trust. If meditation or yoga, then those things tend to help the students who are mildly stressed. It's different for a student who has more than average stress. That's a different category, and we know that there's other things that might have to come into play with that. There's other conversations about possibly seeking some more medical help, some therapeutic help. So it's different for every student. Mild stress, usually the regular stuff works. Stress that's taking over a person's life, that regular stuff's not going to work. That's not how we're wired.
Yeah.
And we need a bigger bag of tools, and usually that comes with medical help.
That's all from us today on the Peer Perspective. Thank you for listening. We hope this episode helps you feel more prepared to take on the day with a new perspective. Don't be afraid to reach out and talk to a trusted adult whenever things feel heavy. Make sure to tune in next time.